Do you want unlimited leads without spending a penny on ads? I'm going to show you how I've done this and you can do this too. Using this system, I've generated thousands of leads for my own business and my clients have done the same too. In fact, one of them went from struggling to generate any calls to booking 3 calls in 1 week for their high ticket offer without spending a penny on ads or posting on social media. The best part about this is I'm going to give you the step-by-step process to go from 0 to hero and start generating leads today. By the end of this video, you'll know how to scrape leads that fit your ideal niche, craft cold emails that actually get replies, and set up this simple system so you can start filling your calendar with your dream clients. There are thousands of your dream clients out there that haven't heard your name and we need to get you in front of them. So the first step is for me to show you how to look for these leads and scrape their information like a pro. However, there are thousands of businesses offering the same service as you, so we need to position you differently so that you're seen as an authority. Alongside this, we need to build a system that gives numerous touch points to leads so you can run this at scale. So forget spammy copy and paste emails, we will craft personalized messages that actually get replies. And lastly, business is a numbers game. This is pointless if you can't run this at scale, so we want to build a system that attracts, nurtures, and books appointments into your calendar without you having to lift a finger so you can focus on doing what you do best. And if that sounds good, let's dive in and I'll walk you through the process step by step. The reality is with most businesses, they simply don't have enough people who know who they are and enough people that have know, like, and trust in them and their product to buy into them. When it comes to marketing, we need to essentially create as much awareness as possible, and we need to think of the avenues that we can get in front of potential prospects. One of the ways is for us to scrape leads from certain databases, which we'll talk about in a moment. What we can do is we can go onto a database and we can set certain criteria. As an example, let's say we're targeting gyms across the world. We're not specific to one certain demographic in terms of we're not specific to one country, we're not specific to one city. We can work with people across the whole entire world, which makes this process even easier. Even if you're working in one specific location, that's fine. I'm just talking as an example. Let's say we are targeting gyms in the world. What we can do is we can then essentially come into these databases and we can put in our criteria. We want to look for gyms that potentially don't have much presence online. We know this because we could go to them and we could then offer, as an example, to build out all of their funnels, all of their systems, all of their back-end processes that will help them then scale. They might not have any avenues for marketing, they might just be relying on word of mouth, or if they don't have any presence online, we can come in, we can build that for them, we can give them an immense amount of value, and they can take a quick return away from it. So for example, what we can do is we can go onto different softwares and we can put in our criteria. One of the easiest ways is you can either pay someone to scrape leads for you through a platform called Upwork. So there's essentially 2 channels. So we want to scrape leads, and we can then essentially do this through 2 channels. We can choose software, which I would suggest because it's generally cheaper and easier to scale with. And then the other is Upwork. Generally with Upwork, when you're looking at scraping leads, you'd expect to spend $150 per 1,000 leads that you get. And obviously this is ultimately a numbers game, so the more leads that we can bring in, the better. We increases our chances of getting more conversations and calls booked in. So you can imagine if we're then looking at putting in 10,000 leads, that can add up quite quick. So when we look at softwares, there's a software that can generally work quite well, and it's called Phantom Buster. Phantom Buster is less than $100 a month. And what we can do is we can go onto Google Maps and we can put in our criteria. So essentially what we can then say in Google Maps is we can then essentially say, we want to look at specifically targeting people that run a gym. So on Google Maps, we can go gyms in London. Then we can maybe do another search and we can go gyms in Miami. We can do another search and we can go gym in Sheffield. We can put this criteria in, and then what Phantom Buster will do is it will scrape their contact data that is on their Google. So it will scrape their website, it will scrape their name, it will scrape their email, it will scrape their phone number. We then essentially have these contact details. We can then look at their potential presence that they have online, and we can dictate if we think they'll be a good quality lead or a poor quality lead. And then off the back of this, we can put them into a cold email sequence, which we're about to walk through in a second. So then this way, we then essentially have unlimited leads that we can then essentially constantly gather more of, we can gather more of, and we can constantly gather more of. This can then be running all the time for us to constantly be scraping thousands of leads every single day, every single month, and we then never have to run out of having leads to put into our systems. Of course, this then becomes a numbers game. The more leads we can put in to our systems, because we have a repeatable process that we can scale, the better. And that's what we're going to walk through now. So we have to realize that these prospects are essentially cold prospects. So we need to then reach out to them, build some trust, and present them an exclusive offer that makes a no-brainer for them to essentially go ahead with it. Generally, cold email can work pretty well at this because we can scale it on autopilot, or cold calling can work, but you obviously need someone to do that physical calling. So it then has a little bit more cost associated with it and a little bit more chance for human error. So let's say we started with the cold email perspective. What we can then do is we want to create a ridiculously personalized sequence that then essentially looks like we've manually sent this out. There's a software that we can use for this called Vinner.ai. What Vinner AI does is we then essentially record an intro, and this intro video makes essentially the lead would watch the first few seconds of it, and then it would make complete sense for them to continue it. You need to grab their attention. It's just like posting on social media. You only have a couple seconds to have a hook to grab their attention and then cause them to continue watching the video. Then what we do is we record a pitch. And then the pitch is us then essentially pitching, booking in a call on our services and all of the results that we've had behind this. And we have to realize that the success rate on this is obviously going to be lower than if they're a warm prospect, but all of this essentially is a volume game. The more volume we put into this, the more chances are that we have people taking action off the back of this. But the way that Vinner AI works, which makes the process far more personalized, is what we do is we import that list that we scraped using our lead scraping software. What Vinner AI then does is it takes our intro video and it puts us in a little corner on the left-hand side, like a Loom video. And then the background of the video, it automatically inputs that lead's website and it will scroll through it. So then it means that that intro looks really personalized because it looks like we are filming a Loom video, a personalized Loom video, scrolling through their website. Then that grabs attention and then we hit them with a pitch. And we have to realize that this again is a cold prospect. So we need some form of guarantee that's going to grab attention and a guarantee that makes it a no risk down for them. For example, what we offer is we offer to generate you 20 clients in the next 180 days, or we will refund you and give you another 180 days for free unless you achieve that. Then what we want to do is we want to essentially have numerous touch points. There's numerous studies of data pools. For example, Google did one relatively recently, and they concluded that you need around 7 to 13 different touch points to then essentially bring someone around to the point of making a sale. So what we then want to do is we want to put this into a software called Instantly. And this is then a cold email software. And what Instantly then does is this then essentially works through a workflow of then essentially sending out this to numerous different chunks of people. So what I mean by that is, if we pick up the pen, what I then mean by that is Instantly will then work through essentially a workflow of email follow-ups. So then it means that we can then have numerous touch points, and then all these leads just literally flow into Vinner, they flow into Instantly, then they flow into the touch points. So then it means that we can literally put as many leads as we want into the system, and it just scales. What we then do is we use another software called Mail Doso, and this then allows us to create email domains. We never want to use your normal email address because your normal email address is the email that you use to message clients, to message business, partners, whatever you use it for. We don't want to cold email through this because with cold email, we are essentially emailing cold prospects. Some prospects will take well to it. The others might then flag you as spam. The others might block you. That's okay, as long as you're not obviously being rude and you're not making false claims. Some people won't like the offer. And that being said, we can then get our domain flagged up. So what Maildoso does is this then allows you to create numerous domains really quickly. Instead of using Google domains, that is a hassle doing it through Google Workspace and all of these things, through Maildoso, you can literally create a domain in seconds. And what this then means is you can then have lots of different email domains sending at once. So this then means that you can have more scale behind it. So this then gives you the scale that you need, because you can then scale the leads from Phantom Buster and scrape more into Vinner. Vinner can push into Instantly can have a follow-up sequence. Then this follow-up sequence, we can scale because it comes into Maildoso here, and we can then have numerous different domains that we can scale it through. This then system between these four softwares allows us to drastically get a lot of scale behind it because we have the infrastructure to do so. Then all we do is we need someone to simply just handle the replies and then essentially bring that prospect around to the point of booking in a call if they have any objections that we need to handle. So that being said, if we know that we generally have 7 to 13 touch points before a sale, we then want to have a follow-up sequence in Instantly. Instantly then allow us to essentially see the data off of what's working and what's not. So for example, we can have the first email that has the Vinner AI video that's personalized. Then we can have follow-up 1. We can have number 2, we can have number 3, we can have number 4, and we could then continue going on like that. I would suggest just obviously being cautious if you are continually putting numerous call to actions. Generally, when you get to the point of being this deep in the workflow, if people still haven't taken action, they're probably not going to. So yes, we want numerous touch points, but if we're getting this deep into the workflow, they're probably not going to take action from the email and buy something. So you might want to change your pivot to essentially just get them into your email list or get them onto your social media where you can nudge them organically. What we then want to think about as well is inside Instantly, they give us data as to what's working and what's not. So we can then look at that data and we can then make adjustments to the messages that we're sending. It then also gives us the ability to do A/B split tests. What A/B split tests are, is this then allows us to have emails sending out and we can then go, right, that email, we want to tweak the subject line slightly. And I would suggest with A/B split tests that you only change one thing at a time. This then allows you to change one thing, see if it works. If it works, cool, go with the one that works best. If it doesn't, go back to the one before, but at least you know what data is impacting that decision. And it's not just a case of you making loads of changes at once and not actually being able to understand what's working and what's not. So then through that system of using those 4 softwares, we can put scale behind it, we can analyze the data, we can refine it, and then it's literally a case of us just putting unlimited leads in on the front, and we can then push people through this. And like I mentioned at the start of the video, we've used this process to generate thousands of leads for us, and our clients do the same. And if you found this useful, please make sure to drop us a subscribe. And if you have any questions at all, please drop them in the comments below.